You are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
What's going down? It is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. Okay, guys, let's get it started. This episode, dare I say, there is no Dragon Ball Super episode 29 to talk about. I knew this shit was coming. I just had an inkling that this is just what they were going to do, leading down to the final few episodes of this saga. Hopefully that's a good thing. Like I said, because these last few episodes need to be, in my opinion, pristine as fuck. It needs to look, 122-esque. That, in my opinion, is the best Dragon Ball Super episode made to date. That's just my opinion. Excuse me. But that's where we are right now, guys. And then also, to add a little bit more attention to the mix, we're not going to get the final episode until, I want to say, March 25th. Either the March 18th or March 25th will be the final episode. So there's going to be another gap between some episodes. So just so you know, going forward, get ready for that. When we finally do get 129, it's not going to be, we're going to get the rest of them. No, they're going to stretch these out. They're going to let it burn like Usher, for the last few episodes. So just get your mind ready for that, because that's what it's going to be. Find something else to watch or something else to do while waiting for the last episode, and the last couple episodes, I guess you can say. So that's where we are on that. There's no Dragon Ball talk. There's nothing to speak of as far as, Dragon Ball Super. We have no love in the building. But there's other things to talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit, maybe even a lot about the Marvel Universe as of late and what I've been doing with that. I'm going to also talk about some interesting stuff I found out about Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. And a little bit of Dragon Ball Fighters talk as well. Also, we have some Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 talk. We got a release date on that, guys, on the final DLC. I down it, the final DLC. The DLC we will see that'll be the last thing we get before we see a Xenoverse 3. That's what I'm assuming, unless, Bandai decides to, throw us a curveball and throw something else in there. They're known for that as well. But the way that this DLC is being talked about as if it's going to be the final one. So we're going to basically live with and die by this until the next Xenoverse game comes out, which probably won't be until 2019. So, we'll get on that. But I wanted to talk about, since we have no Dragon Ball Super talk, I want to talk a little bit about that first. I'm going to start out by, talking a little bit about how, I touched on this last podcast, a little bit about how I felt about the ending of this series. And I'm talking about Goku and, his new mastery of the Ultra Instinct thing, and him going up against Jiren and, trying to make the shit believable, to the watchers. Now Goku fanboys, they're probably not going to give a fuck. They any love, any shine, any gleam upon Goku, they are just going to eat it up anyway. But, for somebody like me who, does love the series, and the reason why I'm saying these things is because I love the series. I just want to see it do great things. And I just feel that the last few episodes aren't enough episodes, in my opinion, to convince me that Goku can beat Jiren. Now, like I said, I'm just speculating here because I can't see the future. I could be wrong, and I did also mention that, you know, I'm not going to make the final judgment on this until I see the last episode of Dragon Ball Super, because you know, who knows, they could do some crazy shit and really something could happen to where, you know, it is believable. It is written to the point where, you know, I could actually buy what they're showing me here. But just on the outside looking in, I'm just speaking for, you know, me, just from what I've seen all up until this point, you know, especially just Jiren, you know, with him. I mean, they've basically put his ass on a pedestal that cannot be reached by anybody else. I mean, he's so wet. This motherfucker is so gifted and so powerful that, I mean, I just don't buy Goku, you know, winning this. It would have to be like a kind of a fluke type of, you know, thing where they find some crazy shit out or trick him into something. It's gonna have to be like that. I don't think it can be like straight up one-on-one Imano type shit. It just can't. I don't see myself buying that, especially with Goku just now attaining this final mastery of Ultra Instinct. And, you know, it takes, like I said, if you look at the history of Dragon Ball, man, it takes time when Saiyans develop new abilities and shit. I mean, yes, they can use some of it right now, but they have not mastered it. I mean, it kind of spans on all characters. I mean, you can even look at Frieza's situation when he went gold form in Resurrection of F. I mean, yes, when he went golden, he was very, very fucking powerful, but, you know, not mastering that golden form was his downfall, you know, in that movie. So imagine if he would have mastered it then. I mean, the whole outlook and the whole, you know, the way Dragon Ball is being written now, as we know it, would probably be changed. But, you know, we all know that the writers write these stories most of the time for the end result to be Goku standing on top of the world. And, you know, he's just a poster boy, and that's just the way it is. But the way you do it, though, still, in my opinion, needs to have some class and still has to have a little bit of dignity, so that the people who, you know, really watch this series and, you know, been watching it since day one, like me, can have something positive to say about, you know, the way it was written in the end. You know, if they've learned anything from the past, GT and all this other shit, then they should know that, you know, writing is a big part. And it should definitely be taken seriously. And I hope that they did not fumble this ending. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm going to leave it alone now. I'm going to step away from the scene and walk away when it comes to that. But yeah, guys, if you guys have anything to add to this, please, I'd like to hear your comments on Twitter at Studio MacGyver. I'd like to see what you have to say. Even, you know, hit up the Facebook page at Studio MacGyver as well, and leave some comments, baby. And let me know what you think. Am I talking out of my ass? Am I drinking sake? Am I smoking endo sticks? Do I not know what I'm talking about? I mean, I would like to hear, you know, what you guys think about some of these things. Please tell me. I want to know. But yeah, on that, I'm going to drop it, and I'm going to jump into the Marvel side. And guys, I know I don't talk about Marvel or comics at all, hardly, on this podcast, but, you know, with Dragon Ball Super coming to an end, and, you know, this gap coming for content as far as new content with the series, you know, I kind of want to, you know, test the waters a little bit and, you know, dive into, you know, some of these comics. And I want to know what you guys think about that, because it's kind of like a resurgence for me, because, like I said, it's kind of like a sleeping giant that was just ducked off, you know, in the back. And watching a lot of these Marvel movies of late has basically just woken that monster up. He's awake. He's, you know, he's hungry. He's looking for food, and the food is, you know, content, you know, from Marvel, and a little DC, and, you know, whatever else I can get my hands on, because there's a lot of good books, not just from Marvel and not just DC. Marvel being, you know, the creme de la creme, in my opinion. But, you know, I went to a couple bookstores recently, and I've seen a lot of interesting shit that I wouldn't mind picking up and reading. And, you know, graphic novels and those type of things, you know, they kind of go hand in hand with anime in a lot of aspects. So I just want to know what you guys think about me getting a little bit into that. Like it's like I'm a noob all over again, though, guys, because I've been away from the comic world so fucking long that the only information I get on it is when I watch, movies from the MCU and, DC and those things. So, but there's been a lot of stuff I've been looking at on the internet that stories that intrigue me. And one of the first stories has been, based on one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe, and it's Captain America, and it is the Secret Empire. When I heard that story and the premise of the story, I was just like, yo, I got to know what the fuck this is and what's going on. So I bought all those books, and I just started. I bought them, and I just didn't have time to read them. I was so into other things. I got the podcast, I got the YouTube channel now, I've got gaming, I've got all this other stuff, and then I'm juggling all that with family life and kids and all this other stuff. So it's really hard to get time to yourself to, sometimes sit back and do something as easy as read a book, read a short, story, a comic or whatever. And please, on a side note, forgive the noise if you guys hear anything in the background. It's an airplane flying over us. I'm going to try to edit this the best I can, but just bear with me, guys. But yeah, on the Marvel side, guys, I just want to get back into books. I want to get back into comics, and I'm trying to do that nice and slow. I'm not going to just jump in like that. I'm going to put my toes in first, and that's what I'm doing with Secret Empire. I'm still reading it as we speak. I think I'm on book number 5 now. It starts with episode 0. And then it goes on. I think it's 12 to 14 books. Don't let me get to line, but I did buy all the books. I am going to read them. That is my first return into the comic book world, the Marvel world. That's what I'm kind of doing right now. So, I mean, tell me what you guys think about that. And on that note as well, I want to, tell you guys that I did go see Black Panther, and I saw it twice already now. So between this podcast and the last one, I've already seen it twice. I saw it Sunday, and I also saw it Wednesday with my daughter. So I just have to say that the movie is everything that everybody is saying that it is all over the internet. They're singing its praises. It's a fucking awesome movie, guys. And I advise anybody who has not seen it to definitely go check it out. It's definitely worthy of the Marvel stamp, and I'm probably gonna go see it again one more time. And then it's just they're doing great fucking things with their movies. I'm just gonna say that Marvel in general, they're doing great things. I tried to watch Justice League. I've been trying to watch it the last couple nights, and I've never gotten through it. I've always fell asleep. I don't know if that's an indication that the movie is just not what that is, but I don't know, man. I can't get into it right now. But Marvel, on the other hand, is definitely, if it was a food, it would be extremely delicious. And, I recommend it for everybody. The characters in this movie, everyone in here did their thing. Killmonger was just epic by Michael B. Jordan. Probably one of my favorite characters in the story. Also, Shuri, which is the Black Panther's sister, she's also a character in her right. And there's a couple other guys in here too that definitely do their thing. Saw it though, I was very pleased, and go see it if you have not. Just check it out. And when I was watching the movie, they showed us some previews, and here's a couple other Marvel movies coming. You got Venom that's coming out. I know a lot of people can't wait to see that. I'm not really personally a big Venom fan, but I'm definitely going to see this movie because he is a cool character, though. Never to say, if anything else, he's a dope ass character. One of my favorite characters, Cable, which happens to be Cable. He's going to be in the next Deadpool movie. So I saw the preview of that, man. I cannot wait to see that Deadpool movie. And then the Ant-Man movie as well. So, so many good things coming from Marvel, man. So many good things. And seeing these movies just inspire me to want to get more into some of these characters and read some of their books and get into their stories. That's just how it feels. And I'm going to do that. I loved the first Ant-Man. I loved Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd, first of all. He's a dope ass actor. I've followed him man, I mean, all the way from Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio all the way up until now. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time is I Love You, Man, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And he was in both of those, but I Love You, Man was my shit. And, you know, he was like a starring role in that. And I loved his character in Ant-Man, and I think he's perfect for the role. And I cannot wait. They've also got some dope ass figures coming out too, man. Marvel has some excellent figures that are coming out. They're really on their game, you know, with some of their figures. I've been trying to, you know, do some research and getting into those because, you know, I'm a collector of certain figures and collectibles, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball. I have, you know, a nice little collection, and I'm trying to grow it. But you know, I had couple of Marvels too, but now, you know, it's got me wanting to expand that. They've got some dope shit coming out, man. And as of late, and I definitely am very interested. But yeah, man, all this comic book shit, this Marvel universe, you know, stuff going on, has just got me amped up. And, you know, I need to find something to get into, you know, in the wake of, you know, the end of Dragon Ball Super as well. And then some other anime as well. There's definitely some other anime that I would like to get into. My Hero Academia, you know, the next season. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know, man. I you know, with Dragon Ball out of the picture, you know, basically in my mind, I have to get my mind ready for it because I know, like, look, it's not over yet, but it will be soon. So I'm just trying to like find other things to get into, knowing that it's coming. It's kind of like Dragon Ball has been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and it only has, you know, a certain amount of time left to live. And no offense to anybody who's dealing with cancer, please don't take that the wrong way. I was just trying to figure out and find a fucking metaphor to use, but it feels like, you know, it's we all know it's coming. We all know the end is near, and we just have to, you know, we're trying to cope best we can with knowing that. And, you know, part of that means, I guess, looking for something else, trying to, you know, get ready for that next chapter until it comes back. You know what I mean? I know we got the movie coming in December sometime. At least that's the date set, the placeholding date for this Dragon Ball Origin movie. And hopefully they stick to that. And, you know, with that being said, that's just what I'm doing right now. Gaming wise, you know, to be honest with you guys, like I said, I've been bit by the Marvel bug, and I cracked open my PSP. I've dove into, you know, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I'm sorry, and I've been fucking enjoying the shit out of it. I got both of them, 1 and 2, both on the PSP, and I've been playing it. And I also understand that they are available on PlayStation 4 now. You can buy them, but they're fucking $40 a pop though. So I was like, well, that's gonna wait. I'm gonna eventually get those, but not right now. That's $80 for both of those. I want both of them, but I'm not paying $80. Now maybe if I can get them for 20 a pop, yeah, I'll do that. But $40, man, is just too much right now for that. Surprisingly too high for me, for my taste at least. And I still have not got a chance to play The Last Guardian yet. I just don't have a lot of time. The quiet as I kept reading these books, man, they're like 20 minutes a read, and you know, I'm trying to squeeze that in. You know, I got a lot of other things going on, you know, on the back burner, you know, trying to get some stuff jumping off with the t-shirt thing I told you guys about, and some other things going on. So it's just been really hard to get some time, even to play games. I mean, you know, I haven't really been able to play too much, gaming wise. I hit a wall, you know, with Assassin's Creed because there's some other things popped up. Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, and I haven't even had a chance to really get too much into that. Luckily, it's a fighting game, and I can kind of, you know, get a few matches in here and there. And there's still issues that need to be worked out with that fucking game, as far as getting kicked out the servers and trying to even play with your friends, you know, because a lot of the time we still get that, you know, when you try to join with your friends, you can't get in for whatever reason. So we got some news on that. Apparently there's going to be a patch upcoming, and they're going to address a lot of these things. Now, they did say that the patch is not going to fix everything 100%, but it will fix a lot of things, and there will be another patch after that. And that final patch, you know, should be, you know, the end all and be all to this fix of this bullshit that's been happening. So that's good news. And it's also good to know that they're supporting the game. They're on top of it. They know what's going on. They're listening to everybody. And that's cool. That's always good, when developers listen to the players. You cannot go wrong with that. And then, of course, the DLC, the first one, Brawly, Bardock, I know that people are going to go apeshit crazy when that shit drops. And it's going to be close. We don't have too much longer to wait for that. We should get that. If not, I'm estimating we should definitely get it in March. We're definitely going to get it in March at the latest. We probably won't get it at the end of this month because, we have Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 DLC coming, and that's supposed to drop the last day of February. So the 28th is when we should be getting that final DLC pack, and we should see Jiren out there in those Dragon Ball streets. That ought to be very interesting, guys. Looking forward to that one, and seeing what else they added as far as, being able to modify current playable characters in the game and how far that's going to go. So yeah, man, I mean, it's, even though Dragon Ball Super as the series is on its way out, I mean, we still have things to keep us grounded and to keep us, happy, and we can still get our Dragon Ball fix if need be. We have Xenoverse, we have Fighters. So I mean, that ought to be enough, in my opinion, right now, to hold us over until December, at least until we get this Origin movie. And then, soon after that, we should be back up and ready to roll in 2019 for, what Dragon Ball has to bring. Will it be Super? Will it be something else? But rest assured, guys, that we are getting something. You know what I'm saying? That is a cash motherfucking cow. And, they're not ready to take that motherfucker to pasture yet. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what your boy has been doing. Hope I didn't miss anything. I think I touched on everything for the most part that I said I was going to touch on. Oh, Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. Got some news, guys. I don't know if this is old. It can't be that old. But I mean, the news is basically that they are shutting it down. I mean, I think they claim that in October, somewhere around October, man, they're going to shut down the servers, I think, and the game is going to be done. They had DLC planned, and they basically canceled the DLC. They had some freelance people who were supposed to be working on a lot of this stuff, and their contracts have ended abruptly. All because, when they got kicked out of Evo, when they lost their spot, I mean, that's when, it went from sugar to shit real quick. And, you cannot, I saw that shit coming. I mean, they changed a lot of shit up with this game. I mean, and it seemed like it got worse and worse from after, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which in my opinion was like still a classic. Still love that fucking game and wish they go back to that recipe. But with politics and gaming, man, and I've talked about this a lot before, but the politics of gaming and how that shit works, sometimes it's definitely a pain in the fucking ass to deal with that shit, because you have people who, own rights to certain characters and certain things. And if they're not pleased with, say, party A or say party C, then, the game doesn't get made because they need certain characters, or people try to doctor up the situation and add other other characters who really have no relevance, being there. And that's basically my opinion and how I feel about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I mean, a lot of these characters, man, why the fuck are they even there? In my opinion, they should not be there. I mean, you got X-Men missing, okay? And supposedly, to my knowledge, is what I'm reading, is that X-Men was supposed to be going to be one of their DLC packs, season 2. Now, here's where, I find where the shit is fucked up at. You guys, if that's true, and if you had access to these characters, the first fuck up you did was leaving them out for a later date, trying to money grab. And this is when money grabbing goes wrong. And a lot of companies has suffered from it already. The whole debacle with the Star Wars shit and all of that. I mean, you can see it, and it's a trend now. And they better watch the fucking step. You know what I mean? Because gamers are not playing anymore. They're not playing. The people are finally starting to speak and hold water and hold weight. And it's beginning to affect some of these companies out here. And really, Capcom thought that they were, immune to that shit. And apparently, they are not. Dragon Ball Fighters kicked their ass out, took their spot at Evo, and then that's when the shit went from sugar to shit. And I think they went wrong with the characters. I mean, that's the main thing of the game. I mean, 2-on-2, I wasn't really, I still feel they should have kept it 3-on-3, but 2-on-2, that was not, I could have lived with that. But, when you took it out X-Men, and X-Men is a staple. When you think Marvel, man, one of the first things that pops in people's heads is X-Men. You gotta, I mean, come on. And then, the lazy work on, some of the graphics, the graphical work, man. I mean, you check Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and you try to, take that and doctor that up a little bit with new characters, whatever. And no, I mean, that's outdated graphics. I mean, you guys, Captain America, which is one of my favorite characters, I just could not stand the way he looked. He looked he just looked wrong. He looked wrong as fuck. And it just threw me off, and I just couldn't get into the game like I really wanted to. It's definitely fun, but some of its appeal is definitely washed away by the graphics and the lack of characters who should be in this fucking game. And shame on them if they actually had the rights to X-Men and chose to put them in on a DLC pack too, if that is true, because that is fucked up. If anything, you should have put them in there, and maybe that could have saved the game, at least gave it life support until they figured out a way to add other characters or whatnot. I mean, come on, man, just stop it. And now you reap what you sow. You deserve everything you get when it comes to this game. And I'm not going to shed a tear when I go to sleep at night, because you motherfuckers knew what you were doing when you did it, and it just backfired and blew up in your fucking face. And that's what it is. And that's what it happens. So yeah, that's my whole, thing when it comes to Marvel Capcom Infinite, man. And, I'll leave that and let that rest. But that's the show, guys. Like I said, with the comic book thing, I'm definitely going to dive back in. I don't know what I'm going to read next, but I'll definitely be reading something. Somewhere probably surrounding, X-Men and or the Avengers, Cable as well, because I did pick up the other book I did pick up was Cable, the reboot. So I want to start Cable from the ground up and get my Cable on. But yeah, man, I mean, tell me what you guys think. I mean, do you think I should open up more about the Marvel Universe and try to get into that? I mean, I got a long way to go when it comes to that, though. A lot of books to see, a lot of, catching up on what's been going on out there in the universes and all of that. But it's something that I'm very interested in doing. Maybe I should do a separate podcast for that, or maybe a separate channel or something. I don't know. If I get in that deep, that might be a consideration. But that was basically what introduced me to anime and got me into fantasy and all those type of things, was the comics at first as a kid. So it's only right that I return back, go full circle. And it also gives me something else to look forward to and to get into when, the anime and the Dragon Ball stuff is kind of sleeping, in hibernation or whatever. So do you guys have any favorite characters? I like to also hear some of those. Any universe, Marvel, DC, it could be Image, it could be whatever, you guys like. I mean, I'd be interested because, I'm always looking for new things to get into when it comes to those type of things. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. And I want to thank, once again, like I always pretty much do, all the listeners who listen to this podcast every week, who send me love through email, through comments on the pages, and through, all the media. I want to say thank you, guys. Continue to support me, and I will continue to do these podcasts. I love each and every one of you guys. I'm going to get up out of here. This is Studio MacGyver. You have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.